conquered people. That war is still waging today. But this is how it began, and this is how it was prophesied long before it actually happened. You can see it, Wisconsin is up there. Got 17 acres. $17. You believe that $17? That's a lot of acreage for $17. But it's now felt by some that the false promise that came at the end of the fifth fire was the materials and riches that embodied the way of life of the light-skinned race. So think of Victorian era Europe, and the jewels and the treasures and the expensive clothing and the expensive fabrics and all of the new modern things that they were starting to develop at that time. Those who abandon the ancient ways and accept this new promise were a big factor in causing the near destruction of the Anishinaabe people. But it was not voluntary. Our people did not walk away from our cultures and our ways of life voluntarily. At the KICC, my church, the Kwewag Indigenous Culture Church, we believe that this was the beginning of the industrial boarding school era. This is where the children were taken away from the families, the tribes, all relatives, and put into non-indigenous environments with the sole purpose of removing the culture, the language, the traditions, the ceremonies, the religion, everything about our native ways, our native identity was taken from us. The first assimilation schools began on the reservations as far back as 1819. The indigenous people and our cultures, my ancestors who held all the secrets of stewardship and balance for our planet, those were the people set for extinction through assimilation for the simple reason, capitalism. Sixth fire. The sixth prophet told the people, in the time of the sixth fire, it will be evident that the promise of the fifth fire came in a false way. Those deceived by this promise take their children away from the teachings. Those children ended up in those boarding schools. Some of them started there as young as a year, 2 years old, and were not released from the boarding schools until they were into their early 20s. So this wasn't a normal school situation, anything that our modern times would give us any kind of insight